Welcome back to Class 3. This is going to be a wonderful and inspiring class. So fasten your seatbelt. Im Yirtzeh Hashem. Now, where did we leave off? We left off discussing a Torah perspective to something that is so important. Our human psychology. Self-awareness is the gateway to change. And we discussed that as human beings, we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And that explains so much. But what can be more complex than the human being, made of these two disparate parts? And therefore, I would like to expand on each part, so that at the end of this class, it will hopefully open your eyes. It will be an eye-opener into understanding the different forces that are in you and within you and that pull at you. And you'll begin to taste a positive way to view these forces and what the task is for you, what the road ahead is. So we'll start with the soul. Let's review. What is the neshama? In the last class, we compared the neshama to a rainbow. Ner Hashem nishmas adam. As the rainbow refracts the incredible white light into all the spectrums and the three primary color spectrums of red, blue, and green, the neshama refracts the love Hashem, the loving light of Hashem, into three primary loves. And it then projects these loves into our heart and deep into our mind. So, in this class, we're going to compare the neshama to the moon. We have a mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh, and the neshama can be compared to the moon. At times, the night is clear. There's not a cloud in the sky. The moon is receiving clearly the light of the sun. And we're clearly seeing the light of the moon. Then it comes the middle of the month. The sun is still shining. Or at the beginning of the month, I should say. The sun is still shining. The moon is still reflecting. But somehow we lost sight of that. We don't see the moon. But don't give up. Keep on trying. You'll get through it. And you'll get past it. And you'll be able to see the light of the moon again. And that's our human experiences. There's times of darkness and times of light. But the neshama is always there. And it's reflecting. And when the moon shines in its glory, and when the neshama is operational, when we're clearly able to connect with the neshama, what does the neshama do? It reflects the light of Hashem, not the sun in this case, but the light of Hashem, down to us. The love that Hashem has for others, the neshama reflects that love into our heart. And so deep in the heart and mind of every human being is an altruism, is a generosity, is a desire to give to others. And we find that people care about the news. We hear about something that's happened in the life of someone somewhere far off in another country because we know we're all connected as human beings. Furthermore, the neshama reflects back the light of the sun to itself. And our neshama fills our hearts with love for Hashem, a multifaceted love for Hashem. We want to be close to Hashem. We want to share life with Hashem. We want to see Hashem as our parent. And then we want to give Hashem nachas. As a child wants to give their parent nachas. What's the English word for nachas? Satisfaction. Parental happiness. Parental aspiration fulfillment. And how does a child give their parent nachas? How does a child make their parent feel satisfied? The way a child does so is by being the best that the child could be, by growing, by becoming. And that's our love for Hashem, to live with Hashem, to connect to Hashem, to go through life holding the hand of Hashem, but also to reach our potential, because that's what Hashem wants from us. To make Hashem proud. And then the neshama shines the very love that Hashem has for us down to us. So there's a healthy love for ourselves. And by the way, love for Hashem, we know that faith is a universal phenomenon. Prayer is a universal phenomenon. Not everyone does it all the time, but many, perhaps one can say, most people do it some of the time. The faith is an aspect of our human experience. This desire to transcend ourselves and connect with a higher power, a compassionate higher power. But there's also a healthy love for the self. Because Hashem loves us. Hashem cares for us. And the neshama, as the moon shines the light onto the earth, the neshama fills us deep down with healthy love. And healthy love is not selfishness. As a matter of fact, it couldn't be further from selfishness than possible. It cannot be further away from selfishness. You see, healthy love for the self is like the love of a parent for a child. It believes that you are good, no matter what you may have done, because your essence is divine. As a therapist, I've worked with parents who've had children in jail, who did all kinds of horrible things, but yet they believed that their child was intrinsically, essentially good and could come back and could become and could grow. That means that belief is also within us, and I see it, and I've seen it. I've seen people that were in the Memches Shari Tuma, in the lowest place. As a therapist, I worked with them. They ran the streets, they did gang-related activity, and they turn it around, and they become decent human beings. Sometimes even with a family. that they care about. There's a part of oneself that never gives up on oneself. It calls you, it begs you, it inspires you. Come back, return, be who you could be. Free yourself from this addictive and destructive lifestyle. There's always hope. So again, the neshama has a care and a compassion for others because it has and it radiates that aspect of Hashem. The neshama has a care and concern for ourselves and a belief in ourselves because it radiates that aspect of Hashem. And finally, the neshama has a care and concern for others. And what is the body? That's the neshama. In regards to the body, there's a simple body and a complex body. The simple body is a desire to gain pleasure. Instinct, it's an aspect of our instincts. Gain pleasure, avoid pain. It could be said that the simple body is instincts that include to some degree the fight or flight response. And here's the idea. It could be said it's the animal within us. You know, if you give an animal enough food, water, and shelter, the animal sleeps. It's good. It's taken care of. That's the simple body. And the complex body is what I call the asset-based complex. The complex body is the part of ourselves that is complex. But I want to simplify by that part by noting that this part of us is a deep-seated feeling of inferiority, a feeling of insignificance. And where does this come from? I want to suggest, I want to theorize something. But I want to first point out a pretty sad but yet striking phenomenon. A very sad but also striking phenomena. We find that suicide, sadly, is a human experience for the most part. Animals don't do it. And it makes so much sense. Why should they? And yet, there are millions of suicides just in the United States a year. Suicide is a phenomenon. And it's incredible that our closest, so to speak, cousins, the chimpanzees, the apes, they don't commit suicide. And yet human beings do. I want to suggest that this is an aspect of the complex body. What is the complex body? Answer, it's a deep-seated feeling of inferiority. Where does it come from? I said already it was a deep-seated feeling of inferiority. Where does it come from? I want to suggest it comes from the human intelligence that sees the world without a creator. When the world is viewed without a creator, ma enosh kisis kerenu. The world is so vast. What is man? Absolutely meaningless. And that's not good. Meaningless, insignificance, feeling just no value, feeling lost in the huge macrocosm of human existence. It sounds like a logical construct, but it's really a psychological reality. There's a deep-seated feeling of inferiority. There is a self that is insignificant. And so what does one need to do? Here's what one needs to do. What one needs to do is to expand the self. How so? By obtaining assets. By obtaining assets, material, tangible, or intangible, one is able to fool oneself that one is worthwhile. So the complex body wants to expand the self. How? By amassing possessions, as we said, tangible or intangible. You have to also realize that animals amass food. They store, probably more than they need to, but they don't build huge edifices. They don't build towers up to the sky. They don't say Nasalon Rishem and build a Migdal Ad L'Shemayim. Why? Because they're too. What do they know? The squirrel knows its tree, it knows its nest where it stays up in the tree. It knows the 2 or 3 trees in the neighborhood cat. That's all the squirrel needs to know. It doesn't realize how big the world is. But human beings do. And so we have that feeling that we are worthless. It's a wound. We're all carrying a wound just by virtue of being alive and having a body. Some more and some less, but we're all wounded. So let's review. We have the neshama is a threefold love that pulsates and beats within us. It's a love for Hashem, desire to be close to Hashem, connected to Hashem. A love for others, a care, a concern for others. As we find great people do great acts of altruism, sometimes completely unexpectedly. If there's a tragedy, you find people helping and saving people they don't even know, sometimes at the cost of their own life. The neshama beats with a love for others. And finally, the neshama never gives up on oneself. Where do we see this in the pasuk? And over here, we're going to end off with this pasuk that we're going to begin to talk about next time, where it says, "Vayitzar Hashem Elikim es Adam, afar mina Adama." Hashem fashioned. Vayitzar is the artistic fashioning, mindful, intentional. So Hashem took man, afar mina Adama, vayipach ba'apav, nishmas chayim. So the question is, there seems to be a repetition in that pasuk. Adama and Avar are essentially the same thing. So let the Torah say, "Vayitzar Elikim es Adam Afar," or "Vayitzar Hashem Elikim es Adam mina Adama." What is the Torah stressing by saying Afar mina Adama? Those are the questions I would like you to think about. That pasuk, we're going to give you a powerful interpretation of that pasuk in Mirza Hashem at the next class. Thank you so much again for joining.